What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. I'm so happy that you guys decided to join me today. Happy Friday to all of you. I hope you're having a good one and I hope you have a lot of fun plans this weekend. For today's video, we are over in San Sequoia and I am building a suburban dream home, or what I envision a suburban dream home to be. I tried to include everything that a large family not only needs but would ever want as well. So with that being said, we do have a relatively long video for today, and I really hope you guys stick around to see the end because the end product turns out so good. Of course, if you do find it enjoyable, then please leave a like on the video, then I know to continue making more houses just like this one. And also subscribe if you have not already, and comment down below what your favorite part of today's build is, or maybe what you envision a suburban dream house to look like. I really enjoy reading y'all's comments down below, so please feel free to leave some. So like I was saying, this is what I envision a suburban dream house to be like. It is a huge house, obviously. It is almost mansion. There's just not 7 bedrooms. Technically, there could be 7 bedrooms, but I designed it with 6 bedrooms, and then the other spare rooms I used for other things. And I tried to include a spare room for each of the family members, and I'll go through each of that as we go through each of the different spare rooms. But just as a little bit of a run over, I do have 2 parents living here, and then we have a grandma in the guest house in the back. And then the parents, they have 4 kids of their own. They have 2 twin teenagers. They each have their own rooms though. Usually I make twins share a room. This is such a big house though. They have more than enough room to have 2 different bedrooms, and one is a boy and one is a girl, so it only makes sense for them to have their own rooms anyways. And then we have a child who is daddy's little girl, and then we have a little infant. So we have children of all ages in this house, which, you know, that just makes sense for it to be a suburban dream home, to have all types of different ages of children, at least in my opinion. And there's something to do for everybody in this house. Like, I am so serious when I said I included it all, guys. On the side of the house, I actually made a 2-car garage. The garage is used for something else other than cars. We have the cars on the outside of the house just because I think it looks better. And then also on the outside of the 2-car garage, I included a basketball court. And it is literally a court. Like, it is a huge area for the teenager to play his basketball. He is a huge basketball lover and football lover. He is actually on the football team at his high school, and his twin sister is actually on the cheerleading team, and they both do very good. Like, their parents started them at a young age playing sports, and at first the parents were the kind that kind of forced their children to play the sports, but as time went on, they both really developed a true passion for their sports that they're in. Like, when the teen boy grows into an adult, he dreams of being a basketball star or a football star. Like, he wants to be in the athletic career and pursue that career on not the bodybuilding side, but the other, like, professional sports player side. Like, I think there's 2 different branches you can go on. He wants to be on the professional sports player side. As far as the teen girl is concerned, she's very into her cheerleading, but she doesn't really know how she could make a career out of that. I mean, in The Sims, there's no, like, professional cheerleading career, which would be cool, honestly. I wish there was. If The Sims had that, she'd be really into that. She would want to have that as her career, but she just doesn't see a good opportunity for it in the future. I think she wants to get a scholarship for her cheerleading and just have it as like a hobby on the side. But she really would like to get into the medical career track. She really enjoys helping other people, and so she would really love to be a doctor when she grows up. This cheerleading thing is really just while she's in high school. She does really enjoy it, don't get me wrong, and she will probably have a daughter when she's older and have her daughter into cheerleading as well. But as far as her career when she grows up is concerned, she really would love to be a doctor. Which of course makes her parents both very, very happy. Actually, her late grandfather, he passed away not too long ago, unfortunately. Just of old age. Nothing, nothing suspicious or anything like that, just old age. And he was actually a doctor, so it kind of runs in their family. And so I think her mom, especially because it was her mom's father that was the doctor, so I think her mom would be like super, super happy to hear about her daughter's wishes and dreams of becoming a doctor, just like her grandfather. But we will talk more about the teenagers specifically once we get to their bedroom. And I also, in the attic up on the 3rd level of the house, I was going to make it just an attic to have like spare stuff up there, but I was like, this is a dream home and that feels like a waste of space. And so I actually decided to make it like a teen hangout room, and there's like a big arcade game machine and a big flat screen TV, a couch with a PlayStation, and I actually put like a little mini kitchenette in there, and there's like a whole bunch of stuff going on in there, and it's super interesting. And I really like it, and I love making like little hangouts for teenagers or children. For children, I do tree houses a lot, which we actually have one of those in this build too. And it's like the little girls hangout. Like that is her favorite place to be, other than hanging out with her dad, because she is a huge daddy's girl. In the garage that we have, remember I said that the garage is not just for cars? I actually made a different use out of it. I actually made it into, we don't have storage in the attic, right? So the garage is actually kind of used for storage, but it's also Dad's like woodworking room. He really loves to build things on the woodworking table. And Daddy's little girl, she has a mental table right next to Dad in the garage, and she plays on her little mental table while he is working on his woodworking bench. And she just likes to pretend that she's building things like Daddy. I think that's super cute. And that will be a little bit later in the build once I work on the garage. I'm working on the outside of the garage at the moment, and I do include a side door as well, and that side door goes into like a boot room sort of thing, or a mud room, whatever it's called. Like, I've heard a couple different ways to name that room, to be honest, but I call it a boot room for some reason. We actually have the side going into a boot room, and then that goes into the laundry room. And I really did an overboard of decorating in the laundry room, to be honest. Just wait and see. It is probably the best laundry room I have done in a build yet. This video's not an hour and a half for no reason. I did a lot of decorating on the inside and the outside. As you could probably tell so far, I'm being very detailed and meticulous of where I am placing things. And I do believe I kept the design of the floor plan in this speed build. I did cut a few things out, guys. It took me a while to build this. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it took me like 2 days. Off and on for 2 days, but still 2 days. It took me like all day yesterday just to furnish it. And so it's, of course there's gonna be some stuff cut out. That's not surprising. I didn't want you guys to sit here and watch a 2.5 hour video. I tried my best to cut out as much as I could, with it still including enough that you needed to see. And so an hour and 25 minutes or so, I might clip some more out while I'm doing the voiceover, we'll see. But at an hour and 25 minutes, that is still super, super long. About 45 minutes longer than I like to have my videos. But with this being such a huge house, it kind of comes with the territory. And so, yeah, if you haven't already, you might want to grab a snack and a drink and a blanket and hang out with me. We'll be here for a while. But I am now realizing I went on a little bit of a tangent explaining a little bit about the Sims that live here, and I'm still not done really explaining the Sims that live here, but I did not really explain the outside design. So as of right now, I have it as like a blue with the stone, but I do end up changing the blue paneling and I just make it tan. I just like the tan for some reason. I do love blue. Really, I'm just trying not to make every single house blue, and I feel like a lot of people stick with the blue and not a whole lot of people do tan, and so I'm just trying to differ from sticking with the blue so much. And once I put the tan on there, I thought the tan looked so much better than the blue did. The blue just looked off a little bit to me for some reason, and once I put the tan on there, it just looked so much better. And then the front door, I changed from blue to like the beige tan color that matches better with the paneling. And switching from the blue paneling to the tan paneling, I think matches a whole lot better with the stone that I have on the outside of the house and with the roof color that I chose, which honestly, guys, I absolutely love that roof color. Like, I love it so much. I have been using it quite often lately, and it's kind of hard to match certain exterior wall colors with that roof, but that tan matches it so perfectly with that stone specifically. I think it looks so good. And this area over here is actually where the guest house is going to be. I almost did a 2-story guest house because I was trying to be a little bit extra with this build. But something about the 2-story guest house in the back just didn't look right to me. I did not like it whatsoever. So I decided just to bring it back down to 1 story, and it looks a lot better. And I also designed it to look just like the main house. I wanted it to match on purpose. I hope it's not too samey for you guys, but I think it looks so much better that way. I kept the same front door as the main house and the windows and the colors of not only the roof, but the walls too. And I also gave the guest house like a little bit of a yard, not necessarily a backyard as you can tell, but it does have its own front yard. And of course, like I was saying, this is Grandma's house. After Grandpa passed away, Grandma needed some help, right? And so she moved in with her daughter in her daughter's guest house. Her daughter had more than enough room. And so her daughter said, "Come on, Mom, you can't live by yourself. It's not good for you to live by yourself, so come live with us." And so she decided, why not? Why not come live with my daughter? And so she decided to live with her in her guest house. And of course, Grandma could not move in without bringing her chickens. Grandma does have a chicken coop, and her chicken coop is in the front yard of the guest house, which I guess technically is the backyard of the main house, but like I was saying, the guest house does have a little bit of a yard, and I put a gate on there so that the chickens could not escape in the rest of the yard. I really wanted them to stick in the same area where the guest house is. And the guest house, I ended up deleting it apparently, because I was very indecisive on the design of the guest house. I wasn't really happy with the outcome I had, but I ended up rebuilding it exactly the same, to be honest. And so yeah, I do include a little bit of trial and error in my videos. Sometimes I just miss it when I cut it out, to be totally honest. But I do get some feedback from you guys that you do enjoy seeing some of the trial and error. Trust me, if I left it all in there, you wouldn't enjoy it as much. But I do agree with you guys in the fact that it's nice for beginners to see the trial and error, to see how a build process really is. Like, I got a comment from one of you guys this week sometime, like a few days ago, saying that you really enjoyed seeing it. So thank you for giving me your feedback. I love to hear your feedback, whether it's good or bad. I do appreciate constructive criticism. I just don't want any meanness, so just keep that in mind. But every single one of you guys that has ever commented on my videos have been nothing but nice, and I just appreciate you guys so much. Having that constructive criticism or compliments or whatever it is really helps me to become a better builder and to really learn what you guys like and what you guys don't like and what looks good and what doesn't look good. And honestly, I have a hard time figuring out what looks good and what doesn't look good sometimes. Because what I might think looks good, someone else might not, you know? So I really do love hearing from you guys. But on another note, we are working on the patio area of the main house, and I decided to do like an outdoor kitchen out here, which I really enjoy. I feel like that is like a dream of a lot of people, at least a dream of mine. Like, I would absolutely die for an outdoor kitchen, and not just like with a grill, like with an actual like stove and oven and all of these counters that I have here and an island, the refrigerator, all of it. I love it so much. I do end up adding a microwave and some other decorations towards the end of the build. I am just really placing, I guess you could call it filler furniture at the moment, so I could fill it up and see where I am going with the build. And I also included a big dining table area outside as well. And I used the table and chair set from Perfect Patio Stuff. I think that's what it's called. Perfect Patio Stuff. And I used those same stools from Perfect Patio Stuff to put at the island of the kitchen as well, and they actually match perfectly with the counters that I used. I did have the darker counters and chairs at first, but I ended up changing it to the lighter wood because I changed the whole floor throughout the house to the lighter wood. I really like the lighter wood a lot better. I used to love dark wood, to be honest. I wasn't a huge fan of the light wood, but anymore, I love the look of light wood. I think it looks so much better, and it makes it look so much more open and roomy, which this is a big house. So that is why I tried to use the dark wood so that it felt a little bit smaller on the inside, which I know sounds weird because typically people want their house to feel bigger and not smaller. But it felt so overwhelming at first that I was like, okay, if I use darker wood, maybe it won't feel so intimidating, you know? But no, it didn't work. It didn't work, and it didn't look good either, so I ended up just changing it to the light wood anyways, which I thought looked so much better. And this pool area is pretty interesting as well. I have the pool up on a platform, and then I'm putting these fairy lights all around the pool because what dream house is complete without fairy lights around their pool? I feel like that's not a dream house then. And then I also put like bushes and flowers around the pool. I love doing this. I don't know why I enjoy it so much, but I think it makes it look so pretty. And of course I had to include the pool floaties as well. I had to do a pizza and then I had to do the rainbow one because the rainbow one is just super cute. And I also included a splash pad area for the kids to play in that live in this house, or, you know, their friends that come over. This is actually the very first time that I have ever messed around and played with the splash pad stuff from Growing Together. I cannot believe I did not play around with it before this because I was so happy when they ended up coming out with the splash pad stuff. I just honestly never really figured out a way to include it in a build. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, it's kind of like large stuff. It needs a large space to be able to include the splash pad stuff, and I usually stick around like 30 by 20 lots for my builds just because, you know, this is a 50 by 40 and look, it's an hour and a half long, so, and that's sped up, and so that's the main reason why I don't do such large builds. I am such a perfectionist. I am such a detail-oriented builder that it just takes me so long to fill up these bigger lots. I don't like when there's a whole lot of space that's empty, unless it's like a farmhouse build on like a 20 by 40 or not 20 by 40. That's kind of small for a farm, but for like the 64 by 64 lots, and it's like a farmhouse, maybe you have a horse or something, they need a lot of space. That's different to have a big yard area that's not filled up. But for like something like this, a suburban dream house, I feel like having a huge yard not filled up just looked so off to me, and I was not going to stop until I filled up the whole lot. So this whole backyard really turns into something. I don't have any space for anything, to be honest. I probably could have left some space for like the teenager to be able to play his football or whatever, but if you know anything about football in The Sims, you know they don't need space to run around. They literally just throw it to each other, and they need just like a little bit of space on like the sidewalk, you know? So there's plenty of room for that. And as far as the cheerleading for the teen girl, I actually have her cheerleading mat in her room. But like I said, we'll talk more about that later once we get to their bedrooms. But like I was saying, I did really make it a point to fill up this whole entire lot. So there's a lot of landscaping going on, and there's a lot of like sidewalks too. I really wanted to make it almost like a circle to go around this lot. Like I wanted you to be able to get from point A to point B without having to go through like a maze. So like if you're starting out by like the mailbox, let's say, you could go to the guest house by going from the left side through the gate or the right side through the gate. The left side is the side with the sidewalk. You'll have to go through, you know, the side area where the basketball hoop is, and then go all around to reach the guest house. Or you can go on the other side, which kind of, you know, it's gonna be a long walk regardless. This is a 50 by 40 lot. It's a big lot, so it's gonna be a walk, but the point is you don't have to go inside of the main house to get to the guest house. And you have either the left side, you know, where the basketball stuff is, or you can go around the pond on the right side. I did paint a little gravel like sidewalk thing, a little gravel path to the right side of the backyard, and then you can go that way to go to the guest house. I feel like that's like the more scenic route. And probably a little bit shorter too, I feel like. I feel like it's a little bit shorter. It's not so many twists and turns like from the left side. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, Grandma being in this guest house way off in the back corner of the lot probably isn't very realistic if Grandma really does need help and can't live on her own. She probably, you know, can't walk a mile by herself. But you know what? In The Sims, our elders here in The Sims, they can walk, okay? They don't have a hard time walking, and so it's fine. She needs the exercise anyways. I mean, she kind of sits at home looking at her chickens most of the day, so she really needs that exercise. And that really is what Grandma likes to do. She likes to just sit at home and like look at her chickens, socialize with her chickens, feed her chickens. She kind of, you know, revolves around her chickens. She doesn't really have any other hobbies. She does like to watch TV, so we do have a TV in here. I tried to make this as homey as possible, with it obvious that someone is living here, but I don't want it to be super cluttered and messy either. I feel like Grandma is very, very neat. She probably has the neat trait, and so her whole little guest house here is super neat, and it actually turned out really cute too, and it didn't take me too long to do the guest house. Oh, and one other thing that Grandma sort of enjoys doing is gardening. And I wouldn't go as far as to say she enjoys gardening itself, but she spends a lot of time in her daughter's garden. Her daughter loves to garden, and she loves spending time with her daughter, and so she will do whatever her daughter's doing just to spend some time with her, and that happens to be gardening a lot. I do end up including a greenhouse on this lot, and it's over there by where the tree house is going to be. Well, I do have the tree house already, so it's right next to the tree house. And yeah, so Grandma, she loves spending time with her daughter, and she will go and hang out with her in her greenhouse, maybe planting some seeds, or maybe just sitting in the chair and talking and spending time with her daughter. She might not actually be doing any of the work, but she is sitting there, and she might be putting in her 2 cents every once in a while, trying to tell her what might be better and what might work a little bit better, or just her opinion, even though she knows nothing about gardening. But Grandma she does really enjoy spending time with her daughter. And Grandma is a strong personality, so with that comes Grandma's 2 cents. Whether it's correct or not, Grandma does not care. She's going to let you know how she feels. And I can appreciate that, to be honest. I love old people like that. I think they're so funny. And it almost seems like the older people get, the more opinionated they are, and the more they just don't care. And I really respect that. Like, it takes a lot for me not to care. I probably care a little bit too much, but I don't care as much as I did as a teenager, So I guess that's just how life goes. The older you get, the less you really care, And it kind of feels good, like, I'm not gonna lie. It feels good not to care so much. But we are officially done with the inside of the guest house, and I'm working on the landscaping around the guest house just to fill it up a little bit and make it look prettier and not so bland. And as far as the landscaping goes, I'm doing my typical landscaping, I'm not gonna lie. I'm doing those hedgerow bushes that I love so much. The one good thing about doing a build this large is that I can use these hedgerow bushes because they are so large and they take up a lot of space, and I am using them to outline a lot of the sidewalks and the buildings as well. And then I'm using like those road flowers, like the hedgerow flowers. I'm not sure what the actual term is for those. But I'm using the yellow ones to match the window boxes. And then I'm also using some of those like palm frond fern bushes and some of the circular yellow flower bushes as well. So I'm using a little bit of a combination, but I'm sticking with those few pieces of landscaping so that it looks more clean. And I want to say natural, but natural is really not the word that I'm looking for. Just a lot more clean and organized. I've come to realize if you use too many different pieces of landscaping in a single lot, that it looks a little sloppy and messy and not really that pretty at all, especially if you use too many colors. Like lately, I've been sticking with like one color, maybe pairing it with white as well. I used to do a lot of different colors, like I might do a pink and a purple, or like a blue and a pink, or a blue and a yellow, but I've come to realize that it doesn't really look that good. Not as good as it would look if you use just one color. And if you want a second color, then go for white. It just matches a whole lot better and it looks a lot more organized. And it kind of took me a while to come to that realization, but once I did, I realized and noticed a difference in my builds and how much better the landscaping really looked. But yeah, so here is the greenhouse that I was talking about a little while ago when we were working on the guest house, and it's a little greenhouse. It's straight and to the point. It's not as detailed as some of the greenhouses that I've done, but it's functional, and that is what matters. And it's cute. And I am placing a lot of like landscaping around the greenhouse and the tree house and stuff. I did cut some of it out just because, like I was saying earlier, it's a long build. I needed to cut some of it out, but the landscaping literally looks just like the rest of the build, so you really didn't miss much. But something to note on that tree house that I did different than I normally do, so I normally have the ladder going into the tree house on the porch part of the tree house, but I actually made it go inside of the tree house this time, which I feel like is a little bit more realistic and not as, I feel like not as unrealistic, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. I feel like the ladder going up where the porch is a little bit unrealistic. I feel like a lot of tree houses, they have the ladder actually going up the tree, into the house. And that's kind of what I was trying to mimic. Now, it's not up against the tree per se, because I don't think that's possible. I didn't really play around with that. I do want to play around with that in the future to see if that is something that I could do. But for now, I just put it as close to the tree as I could. With it being as close to the tree as possible, it's pretty much in the center of the tree house. And then I do put a fence around the sides of the ladder so that it's not like a falling hazard. Now, your sim can't actually fall down, but in real life they could. So I tried to make it as realistic as possible. So that's why I ended up putting the fence around the ladder. And it also just looked better too, to be honest. And something else about the treehouse, I stuck with like a dark wood, light wood combination because I wanted it to look like the dad actually built the treehouse, which isn't the first time I've done this in a build. Like pretty much every time I do a treehouse, I try to make it look wooden and like a real treehouse would if your dad was to build you one. And so that's why I didn't stick with the colors of the house. I almost made it the same color as the house, but I felt like that wasn't super realistic, so I stuck with the wood instead. And I feel like the darker wood with the lighter wood mix looks really good. It looks like some of the wood was stained and some of it wasn't, or at least that's the vibe I was going for anyways. But we are over into the kitchen, and I was a little indecisive on the design that I wanted for the kitchen. And not only the kitchen, to be honest, but the whole build. Like I was indecisive on if I wanted it to be colorful or if I wanted it to be kind of neutral on the inside. Obviously, I ended up going for the colorful vibe instead of the neutral, and I really like it, to be honest. I think it's super family oriented, which obviously was the vibe I was going for. So yeah, that's ultimately why I decided to go for the colors instead. And I just love super colorful builds anyways, especially for family houses. I feel like that's such a family thing to do, especially for kids. You know, kids just love colorful things. And as far as the appliances in the kitchen goes, I decided to put the stovetop on the island, which I love the way I did that island. I love the oval shape. It looks so good. And then I put the stools in front of the front side of the island or the back side, depending on the way you're looking at it. And I did have the oven right behind the stools, but my sim could not get there. And so I had to move the oven to the other side, but I think it makes a little bit more sense over there anyways. And then that one area that has the two cabinets on each side, and then it has like a countertop in the middle. I actually put a candy making machine there, and that's super interesting. I've never actually played with it in game yet, but I love the fact that they added that. Didn't they add that in businesses and hobbies? But since this is a suburban dream house, aka family dream house, I feel like that would be something that would be necessary. I feel like kids would absolutely love to make their own candy. I couldn't decide between that or the ice cream maker, but since we've had the ice cream maker for so long now, I felt like the candy machine was the way to go. And I also used a lot of the clutter pieces from the kitchen clutter kit. That is by far one of my favorite kits. That one and the Comfy Gamer is like a go-to for me. It's so easy to use those items in any build, especially family builds, of course. And the items in the kitchen clutter kit are like so cute. I love that fruit basket, and I love all of the different Tupperware pieces that you can have on top of the counters. We needed those for so long. I was so tired of using the ones from Dine Out. Like it's crazy, honestly. Way overdue for kitchen clutter items. And I also absolutely love the fridge that came in the kitchen clutter pack too. We are now over into the laundry room, and I cut a large portion of the laundry room out, but I still wanted you guys to see me decorate a little part of it because I think the laundry room turned out so cute. Like, honestly, probably the best and most realistic laundry room that I've done before. So I have the washer and dryer on like the right side if you're like walking in from the main part of the house. And I did blue and yellow. I stuck with the colorful theme here, and I love the blue and yellow together. I think blue and yellow go really, really well together, and I think someone commented on one of my videos before they go so well because they like are like contrast colors or something. I don't remember, to be honest. I did not take art in high school, so I did, but I didn't listen, okay? I skipped a lot in high school. But that's a whole other story. I do just, for whatever reason, love those two colors together. And something that I've never done before, but I wanted to add was like a table in the center of the laundry room, right in front of the washer and dryer as like a folding table, which I've never done in the Sams, and I don't know why, because that is so realistic. I feel like everyone has like a table they use to fold their clothes. At least we do in our house. It's very useful. And we had like a big open space here in the middle of the floor that I had absolutely no idea what to do with. And so the only option that I could think of was adding a folding table. Obviously, it's not functional. Your sim won't actually use it to fold clothes, but they might actually like pull the clothes already folded out of the dryer, because that's what they do here in the Sims, and they might just set it on the table if they don't put it away, and then you can just click on it and have your sim put it away. So it might actually be useful for that at least, but I did some clothing piles folded, and then I did like one pile not folded, so it looks like a Sim is kind of in the process of doing laundry. And then of course I did the laundry rack that came from Eco Lifestyle, and I love using that in my laundry rooms. It's just like a good addition to a laundry room because it's extra shelving and it has already folded stuff on there, so it's a good like piece of decoration to have. And then I also added a pantry or like a big shelf area from laundry day, and then I also added just like a chair, like a sofa with a side table next to it, and then a little poof. And here I cut this area out because it's really, you see what I did. I just did a lot of the modular closets from Dream Home Decorator, and then I put shoes there, I put some clothing there, like some jackets that I think the family would use if it's winter time, and then a lot of storage bins on each of the shelves. And right now, I am placing like this bowl on the table, and I'm placing like some glasses and a phone and a set of keys, and I feel like that's super realistic, and it actually is not floating. I was able to take that shelf that I love to use. I don't have the OSMP shelf or the red shelf. I just, I use 2 mods. You guys know if you're a returning viewer, I do not like to use a lot of mods because it's a lot of maintenance and a lot of upkeep, too much of what I want to deal with. So I try to use what I can in the game, and a super useful shelf to use in replace of the red shelf is the shelf that you can get from High School Years. Or if you don't have High School Years, they have one in base game where it's in the bathroom clutter pieces. It's the white multi-level shelf that you can put like towels and stuff on. That fits a lot of different clutter pieces, so you can pull that out and use that in replace of the red shelf. Whether you are on PlayStation or Xbox and you can't use mods, you can use that. Or if you're like me and you do have a PC but you just cannot stand the maintenance and upkeep that mods take, then that's a good hack that you can use. I absolutely love to use those shelves. It helps so much for my clutter pieces. And it not only fits like the mini clutter pieces, but it fits a lot of the larger ones too. And so that is what makes those two shelves so good. A lot of the shelves you can only add like the smaller pieces, which irritates me, but those two you can add the larger ones. So yeah, they're great. But we are over into the living room now, and I was so indecisive on the color scheme that I wanted for the living room. I did cut that part out. Like, I almost did blue and red, and I almost did like a pink and a blue, which that was a little bit too much for me. But I ended up just sticking with the blue and the yellow theme that I have in the laundry room and in the kitchen. The kitchen's kind of blue and yellow too, now that I'm thinking about it. And then the dining room is like the most neutral room in the house, to be honest, other than the parents' bedroom. That is like just like neutral, like a tan plus a yellow. I'm kind of on a yellow kick, but there's something about blue and yellow together that I just love. And oh, I also came across these like plates, and I realized that these rounded cabinets do not have any plates or other clutter pieces in the shelves, and so I just placed the little plates, and I love that you can stack them on top of each other, and I just placed those in the blank shelves of the kitchen island. It was a little bit of a chore, but it definitely was worth it in the end. But I am working on the living room now, and I was going to add these two bookshelves next to each side of the fireplace and the TV, and I spent a lot of time adding clutter pieces, but to be totally honest, I hated the way that it turned out. It just looked a little bit too much, so I do delete both of these bookshelves here in just a minute, and I end up adding like a bookshelf cabinet thing on one side, but the other side I do move that yellow chair down, and I do add a lamp, I believe, and where that yellow chair currently is, I end up adding a toy box instead, just for like a little area for the infant to play while, you know, maybe mom just is sitting down watching TV or on the computer and she wants to keep an eye on the baby. He can be there playing his little toys while she's doing whatever she's doing. And I also add a little crib in here as well. I love doing that in my Suburban builds. That's definitely not something new that I have done. I have done it so many times before. I just feel like it's so realistic, and this is such a big house that your Sam, it's gonna take them half the day to walk to the infant's room for nap time, and we don't have that kind of time. And so that is ultimately why I decided to put a crib down here in the living room, just so that you have one extra crib on the bottom level, but also the second level as well. I added those cute little picture frames of the infant and the newborn too. I absolutely love those. I think that is so cute. That came from the Storybook nursery kit. Same with the toy box. That came from that kit as well. So, with that being said, I am going to let you guys know this is obviously, if you couldn't tell already, not a limited pack build whatsoever. It was such a large build that I had to use as much that I could to fill it up without it being too samey and too boring, too monotonous, too whatever. I just wanted it to be as different as possible, and I feel like if I did base game only or a limited pack build, that I would have to reuse the same thing time and time again. And so yeah, I just wanted to give myself free range of whatever pack I wanted to use in this build. I did furnish the hallway upstairs leading to the laundry room and the living room, and I also furnished the bathroom upstairs as well, but I did cut those parts out. It's like it's a hallway and then it's a bathroom. The bathroom does look really good, I'm not gonna lie. I did a little bit of different things in there than I normally do. Like I made use of the platforms in the bathroom, and it looks really good. You'll see it as we pass by, but I felt like it was on the chopping block to be cut out, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But Right now, we are actually working on Dad's man cave. So I used the Casanova cave kit and a few of the other kits in here as well, but that TV is from the Casanova cave kit, and same with the pictures on the walls behind the sofa as well. So Dad is a busy dad, okay? He really deserves his own man cave, and so I just thought it was, a fun idea to do as well, since this is a suburban dream house. What man would not love a man cave? And so really I just added some sofas, I did some pillows of course just to add some decorations, and I stuck with like man colors, what I feel like a man would like. So like black, gray, green, brown here and there is really the colors that I stuck with. And no dream man cave would be complete without a kitchen. One thing that I did not add that I should have added was like a bar somewhere, but you know what? This dad, he's not a big drinker anyways, and so having a kitchen this close is all that he really wants. And in real life, let's be honest, he could just grab a beer out of the fridge, right? If this was real life, but you can't do that in The Sims. But he really does like to cook his own food and hang out with his buddies, watch some sports games. So having a kitchen right here with a coffee maker, a microwave, a fridge, an oven, that's all they really need. They could make whatever they want, from wings to a breakfast burrito in the microwave. Whatever their little hearts desire, they could have in that man cave. And the man cave is super simple yet effective, and I love that huge flat screen TV. I absolutely love it, to be honest. And I also added a bathroom down here, but something else that I added, Dad is actually in the military career, and he actually has a true passion for the military career. He chose to go into that career. It wasn't like forced upon him or anything like that. So something that he's always wanted since he began the military career, he's seen, things that no Sim has seen before. Okay, so he's a little bit of a conspiracy theorist now, but is it really a conspiracy if he's seen it with his own eyes? If he's seen what things really could do, like he's been to Strangerville and he has seen the mother, okay? He knows what is out there. And so he has always wanted like a secret underground bunker. And so in his man cave, he has what you would think would be bookshelves or bookcases. But what it actually is a secret door into his secret bunker room that he goes in, and he uses it for like a bug out conspiracy theorist doomsday prepper sort of thing. So he has like a food pantry shelf that him and his family would need if anything was to go down, like if the mother was to get out of Strangerville and come for everybody in all of these other towns. He has this room to bring him and his family in. There's only one bed, they'll have to share it. But that's fine. Hopefully nothing like that will happen. He also uses it to investigate different parts of paranormal or kind of, not really supernatural, but aliens, okay? He needs to investigate aliens. He has seen a lot of aliens in the military career, and he really wants to investigate to see how to repel them and get rid of them, and how to defeat the mother too, which actually is his aspiration. He wants to be the Stranger Town hero. He's a big family man too, don't get me wrong. Like, he kind of goes between two aspirations. He wants to be a big happy family, but he also wants to be the hero of Strangerville. And so that's really important for him. And so that underground bunker is kind of like a dual purpose. Oh, and while we are on the subject of how paranoid this dad really is under the surface, he has cameras around each portion of his house, so no burglars will be breaking into this house. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did forget the burglar alarm. Did they make a cross feature thing where if they have the cameras that kind of goes hand in hand with the burglar alarm? Probably not. That's a missed opportunity if they didn't. But yeah, he's super paranoid, and so he has cameras all around his house just so no one breaks in. And he's also looking for aliens. That's really what he's looking for. Is aliens or any of those zombies from Strangerville trying to get him and his family, because he's right on the edge of figuring out the mystery of Strangerville. And so the mother's sending all of her little minions to defeat him, and he's not gonna let it happen. He's not gonna let them get to him or his family. So yeah, that's a little bit of a background on the dad. He's a little bit of a mystery to his family. His family thinks he spends a lot of time in his man cave, but in reality, he's in that underground bunker that they know nothing about. Like, they have no idea that even exists. They really believe in that hidden door, to be honest. They think it's a real bookshelf. But we are now up working on the garage. I did cut a little bit of the garage out. It's a basic garage. I really tried to make it look realistic. And there is the mental table, the daughter's mental table. She loves working there next to her dad when her dad is working on some wood projects. And other than that, I tried to think of what would be in a real garage. I did add a generator. This is not an eco-friendly house whatsoever, apparently. And I also added just some like toolboxes, some shelves for the tools. I added some storage boxes from Eco Lifestyle. I think those are so cute. They're so realistic. I love adding those in either my attics or my garages. And I mean, that's basically it. I did add a water heater, so I'm not sure what the water heater does. Is it like actually functional? Like, will it actually break down? Or do you have to have the landlord lot tray attached to this lot in order for the water heater to work? Or is it literally just for scenery? I have no idea. So I guess if you guys know, let me know down below. I don't play the game a whole lot. I really enjoy building. I usually play if a new pack comes out, but I didn't do a lot of playing with For Rent just because it got a little boring, you know? Just like a lot of these packs do. I'm not gonna lie, they get kind of boring really fast. But yeah, let me know if that water heater is actually functional. I know the generator is. Back when Eco Lifestyle came out, I did a lot of playing the actual game, and so the older packs I know the features of, but the newer packs I don't know a lot of like the features. However, I think I am going to play with the new pack that's coming out here soon. I do love trying out the new occults, to be honest. I'm really not a big occult player, or so I say, but I tend to play the packs when they come out, so I don't know what that says about me, but but anyways, I did get a little sidetracked there. I tend to do that. It's been almost an hour now, so I might get sidetracked a little bit, so forgive me if I do. We are working on the master bedroom now, and we do have a computer table and desk in here. One thing about this house is that it is not lacking on computers whatsoever. Like, there's computers in every room almost. But I have, like, it was such a big room and weirdly large that I wanted to break it up a little bit, so I ended up putting like a wall and putting a fireplace on that wall and the TV facing the bed, and on the other side it's almost like a hallway of some sort. I don't know, I kind of like the way that it's designed though. And then I have a bookshelf on the other side of the wall, and the mom is really into painting, so I've described the dad a little bit and his little quirks, but the mom, she doesn't have any quirks per se, but she is really into painting and she's really into gardening. Those two things are her hobbies that she enjoys to do a lot. Not only hobbies, but she's fortunate enough to be able to make money off of it too. Like, she is so good at painting and she's pretty good at gardening too. She's like level 9 of the painting scale. And so she can sell her paintings for quite a bit of money, to be honest. And she's also looking into doing painting classes as well. One of the spare rooms upstairs is actually used for a fitness room, and she is into fitness. She does yoga a lot too. But she's kind of thinking about changing that from a fitness room and just moving her fitness equipment somewhere else, maybe her bedroom or something like that. And she's thinking about making that into like an art classroom, and she would really enjoy that, and she could make pretty good money teaching others how to paint as well. But as of right now, it is just a little gym for her and her husband to work out in. Her husband does work out a lot too. He's in the military career, so he kind of has to stay in shape to be able to defeat the mother. Have you seen the mother? That is nothing to play around with. Like, you want to be in shape for that for sure. And I'll talk a little bit more about the fitness room once I get up there. I do have like a little closet and a little bathroom for the fitness room as well. But one other thing about the master bedroom, I did have a master bathroom in there as well that you did not see me decorate, but we passed by it. So you kind of get the point. We have a double shower in there, which I really enjoy. I really want one of those in real life. I could just picture me and my husband having a shower head to ourselves, yet showering together, you know, but not having to like fight for the water. That would be so awesome. And then they also have a walk-in closet as well that has like a vanity. And I would love to have a walk-in closet that big to where you can have a closet on one side and the other side you could have your vanity. That would be so awesome. We are now over into the entryway, and I designed the entryway to have like a super tall ceiling. I cut out the second level ceiling / floor. And so it just goes straight up to the top, and I chose some lights. I can't remember what kit or pack it's from, but they're like circular and there's like 5 of them in a row, and I think it's perfect for what I used it for. It's kind of like a chandelier sort of thing is what I was going for, and I think it's so pretty. And this entry room, I put some mirrors right behind the couch or like bench sort of thing that I have right there. I figured your sim could sit there and put their shoes on or take their shoes off if they're getting home, and then some mirrors behind just so that they could do a little bit of a self-check before they leave. And then on the other side, I added a shelf that is from cats and dogs, so it has the leashes for the dogs on there. So this is decorated for a dog as well, or a cat if you want to change it up a little bit. And I also added a piano right there. I feel like what suburban dream house is complete without a piano somewhere in the build, right? And now that they added these regular pianos that aren't so big and bulky, it's kind of like the ones that you push up against the wall like here, it makes it so much easier to be able to include a piano in a build. Before they had these wall pianos, they had like the big bulky ones that are like really big and elegant that you see at like weddings or maybe a church or anything like that. And they're just so big that it's hard to really put them anywhere. I'm not gonna lie, they'll take up like a whole room by themselves. And then the entryway kind of goes into another room that I just put some couches there. It's kind of like a sitting hangout room. It's almost like the room that my grandma had when I was growing up, where she had a front living room and she had a back living room. The back living room is where you went to watch TV. The front one was the one no one was allowed to sit in unless it was Christmas. Like, that's where her tree would be, so she would let everyone sit in there for Christmas. But other than that, that couch was a no sitting couch. And I feel like everyone's grandma has a room like that, don't they? I feel like that's like a thing. 1 hour later, we are finally starting on the bedrooms upstairs, and this is the teen boy's bedroom. And like I was saying, he does have a twin sister that is right across the hall from him, and they are like best friends. They love each other so much, but not enough to share a room. Like, they definitely want their own space away from each other when they end up annoying each other to death. But he is really into football and basketball, but he's really into like video games as well. I feel like he's a pretty normal teen boy. And we are over into his sister's room now, and she is, like I was saying, really into cheerleading, and she's really into dancing as well. And when she's older, she really wants to become a doctor. She loves to help people, either a doctor or a vet, but she's more leaning towards helping people instead of animals. She really can't stand the thought of a sick animal or a hurt animal or anything like that. She really would be more comfortable seeing a sick person. That probably sounds so bad, but it's kind of true, and I can kind of relate to that, to be honest. So the teen boys room is pretty typical of a room that I've done, but the teen girls is different than I've done before. I tried to do like the cheerleading mat, and I surrounded it with mirrors so that she can kind of watch her form as she is doing her cheering routine, and also dancing as well. Like, I was thinking of the dance bar from Sims 2 Free Time. I used to love that pack as a kid, and I loved the ballerina bar as a kid specifically, and I used to love placing the ballerina bar on the wall and then placing like one of those large mirrors right behind it. It gives like a realistic vibe where she can actually look at her form as she is doing her routine, and that is what I tried to mimic here, and I think I did a pretty good job. I mean, it's not ideal to have those mirrors right in the corner when you're looking like in with the walls half down. It is kind of in the way, to be honest, but if you look at the room from this point of view, it's not so hard, you know, it's not so in the way. But I do have my little sim here. She is doing a cheer routine. She's an adult, but you kind of get the vibe, you know, and it actually is perfect. She is literally facing the mirror, so I love that. And she obviously is very good at cheerleading because she has a couple of trophies, and her brother has a couple of football trophies as well. They are the captains of each of their teams, actually, so that's interesting. Their parents are very, very proud. And I feel like no teen girl's room is complete without a mirror with some makeup right below it so that she can sit there and put her makeup on while listening to music. That is it for the teens room, and we are over into the child's room now. And like I was saying, this is Daddy's little girl. Like, she absolutely loves to spend time with her dad, but when he's down in his man cave or the bunker that they don't know about, she spends a lot of time either in her treehouse or in her bedroom, and she is a very creative child. She really loves to draw pictures, and she also likes to work on her mental table. She also likes to hang out with her friends a lot as well. I also put a playground, like sandbox sort of thing in the backyard, so she loves inviting all of her friends over and playing on her playground equipment in her backyard. Of course, I also put a computer in her room as well so that she has something else she's able to do. She has a little camera on there. She likes to kind of play pretend like she's a video game streamer, even though she's not, but she does like to play pretend like she is. Actually, I think the only room I did not put a computer desk in, other than the infant's room and other than grandma in the guest house, was the teen girl's room. And the reason why I did not put a computer in her room mainly is because it didn't fit, but also I end up designing a room for, like, it's almost like a computer room, and the kids go in there and they can use it for their homework. I have some blank desks in there that they can use for their homework, and I also have 2 desks with computers on them as well. And other than the computers and the computer desks for their homework, I also added a bookshelf in there, and on one side I added like the void critter machine, not really machine, but the void critter thing where they play void critters on, you know, I don't really know what it's called. And then on the other side, I found this like board from Growing Together. I have known about it for a while and I've wanted to use it for a while. I just had literally no idea how I would use it in a build, and it's called like Look at My Drawings or something, but it's like a board where a kid posted their drawings on it, and it's like a display board basically. So I was able to put that in that room as well. And then I put some like little like beanbag chairs and poofs in front of it just to look like the kid is actually showing off their drawings, and maybe the parents would sit there. I thought that was super cute, and I really didn't know what else to add in that room, and it kind of was just filler furniture, to be honest. But you guys will see me decorate that room here in just a brief moment. Right now I'm working on the nursery for a little baby boy, and I just stuck with like a blue color. It's very basic, to be honest. At this point, I was so over this build. I was ready to get it done at this point, like, I'm not gonna lie. So I was just going with what I thought was cute for a little baby's nursery. And I do end up moving that chair and the poof, and I end up adding one of those little like grabby play mats for the infant instead. I feel like that makes a lot more sense. There's something that is actually usable in the baby's room now that I added that little play mat. Before, with just the chair, I mean, no one's gonna use that chair. It really was just for looks, but now it's a little bit more functional. And I also added some picture frames on the wall, and I don't know if you noticed, but I did zoom up on the one that has the lady with no arms. Like, that irritates me so much because that's my favorite swatch, but she has no arms. And I looked again to see if it was just like her shirt being the same color as the background, and it literally is not. It literally isn't. So I don't know what happened there. It looks like AI. And like, you know how AI sometimes can be really, really good, but sometimes AI can be really, really bad. And there's like missing body parts, or there's like distorted body parts. Well, that's what it reminds me of. And I literally can't stand it, but I did end up keeping it in the build, so. But here is the computer room / homework room that I was talking about. I do have computers at 2 of the tables, and then the other 2 tables I kept just blank so that your Sims can do homework there. I did place some grade school homework and then a high school homework just for like example of what it's for. And then there is the bookcase dividing the 2 areas, and one area I am working on that little display area for the drawings for the child with the little poof things, and then there is the void critter play thing that I was talking about. I literally don't know what that's called, but yeah, I mean, I kind of just wanted this to be like a computer room sort of thing, but there is so much open space in the middle that I had to fill that up somehow, and the teenagers have their own space upstairs, so I wanted to give the child some things in the computer room to play with. She does have her tree house, and she does have her play area in the backyard, but she also has a little bit of an area in the computer room, so I guess you could say she's a little bit spoiled. But honestly, every single Sim, child or not, that lives in this house is spoiled. It's not just the kids. But we are now over into the fitness room that I was talking about, and I do have a treadmill in here and also like a weightlifting machine, and I also put a yoga mat. The mom is very into yoga, and I put a mirror in front of the yoga mat so that she can check her form just like her daughter does for her cheerleading. And then behind it, I did want to do a rock climbing thing, but I pulled it out and it was absolutely massive, and so I had to just put a little bit of an end table with some decorations on it and above it, and that was it. And then I also have 2 rooms there next to the fitness room that I really did not know what the heck to do with, so I ended up just making one a closet, just like the closet in the master bedroom with the modular stuff, and then I put a bathroom there as well so that when they're done working out they can go and change and take a shower. And now we are into the teens hangout room that I was talking about earlier, and we have a huge sectional sofa for the teenagers and all of their friends to hang out on and play video games on their big flat screen TV. And then I added some of those comfy gamer posters right behind the couch. I thought it was perfect for this room. And of course there's a PlayStation, and I added some PlayStation remotes. I also end up adding like a game table right next to the TV. And as you can tell on the far wall, I do have one of those big arcade games. And I absolutely love that thing. I love using it when I'm able to. It's so big and bulky that I'm not able to use it often, but in a build like this, like a suburban family dream home, it was absolutely perfect to use in this build. And here's the game table I was talking about. I almost put a cow plant poster above it, but the teen girl has one in her room, so I didn't want to use it twice. And I do end up adding a big stereo in here as well in just a little bit, and I add one outside too. And then we have a bathroom up here, of course, so that they don't have to go down the ladder every time they need to go pee. And then we have a little bit of a kitchenette too. There's not an oven in there. I feel like that would be super unsafe and a huge fire hazard. But we do have a mini fridge and a microwave in there so that they can use the microwave and make a breakfast burrito or a pizza roll-up or a corn dog or anything like that. And now we are finally completely done with the interior of this house. This has been such a long video, guys. This is the longest video that I have ever done on this channel. Of course, if you did make it this far, please leave a like on this video. I worked a lot and very hard on this house, and also it kind of shows me that you really enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, you probably enjoyed it, right? Or you hated it. Either way, just leave me a like. Also subscribe if you have not already, and also comment down below what your favorite part of today's build is. I really appreciate you guys so much, more than I really could ever say, and I am going to leave you to enjoy the rest of this video without having to listen to my rambling anymore. You've already listened to it for an hour and 11 minutes, so I will spare you the rest of the time. And I really don't have much else to say about the build. The rest will just be terrain paint. I will finish furnishing the porches and the balcony, and I will do the tree house and the greenhouse, and maybe add some details here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty self-explanatory. But one more thing I would like to mention, I do add lights at the ends, but you do not see me add a light on each and every post of the fence. So I do that once I am completely done filming, and it was just one extra detail that I really wanted to add. And I'm really happy that I did take the time to do that because it turned out so good, and it adds just such a good detail. It makes the whole build look so detailed, to be honest. But yeah, with all of that being said, once again, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Please do not forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys!